Hello everybody, welcome to our channels. My name is Vero Gitiha and today we are here in Mukuru kwa Ruben at the affordable housing estate, and we had the pleasure of meeting the deputy government spokesperson, Mr. Gabriel, and he's going to tell us what was the genesis of affordable housing and how is the project going on so far. Hi sir, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm very amazing.
Thank you. I've had you ask the question, or, what was the genesis?
Yes.
And, the funny thing, and this is something people don't know, but if you look at our constitution, it talked about housing.
Yeah.
It has been there for all
Yes.
time. So it's not only a great undertaking that the president initiated, but it's something that has been in our constitution. Not only that, in nearly all manifestos of all parties. But I'll tell you something again. Hii ni kitu watu watakagi kuzungumzia sana. I was telling you guys we operate on information and data. And it's very statistical. And when you have the knowledge, any self-respecting leader must develop the responsibility of mitigating the problems that face the society or the community. And as we know, housing has been a problem. It didn't start yesterday. It's been there for years. So the president really sat down after they tried, and you've had him say, they were with the former administration, they tried, it was part of their agenda. And at one point, the former president asked him, why do you need, But then there's the statistical evidence that we must be alive to. What does it tell us? Our population is growing. Yeah? In the next 30 years, our population will double. And statistics, and this is a scientific acquisition of facts, tells us that majority of our young men and women of the population of that time will be living in urban centers. That is data that is supposed to make any self-respecting leader realize that there's a huge problem. And one that requires urgency in solving. And so when the president sat down, he said we cannot allow us to be caught flat-footed. And so we cannot allow a country like Kenya really deteriorate into having slums in our urban centers, and hence the birth of what you're seeing behind us. That's why I tell people it's not just an undertaking. This is where the world is going. So when the president is talking about a Singapore, this is how they realized it, So the genesis comes and marries our present. And that's why you're seeing we've removed people from places where, the slums, to dignified, and underline that word twice, dignified abodes and places of living, places where they can raise their families and where they can say for sure, I have gotten a place to live and something that I can pass it on to the next generation. So it carries the weight and the imagination of a country that's looking forward to get into a first world. And I hear many people, pointing fingers, how will we achieve it? It's not how will we achieve it. We are achieving it. Yeah, it's no longer a deferred dream. People are living it. You have people who have come out from the Mukuru slum who today are experiencing piped gas. Some of us even have not experienced that in our homes, but they are. They have elevators. Yeah, we get from first floor all the way to the top. You have people who have now a place they can call a bathroom. Can you imagine, in the 21st century Kenya, we still have people who do not have places to defecate? Can you imagine? They don't have a place to go to the toilet. This is, we are talking about Europe of the 13th century. But I am glad this dream of housing is no longer deferred. So as we move along, nearly every county you go through, there are affordable housing coming up. Structures are coming up. And I can guarantee you, this is one milestone that the future of this country will be grateful for. At least somebody took the initiative. Somebody did not hear the naysayers, the cynics. He closed his ears to the cynics. And today we have realized a pathway to creating affordable housing for us today and the future generation.
And so when it comes to about the affordable housing, it started a few years back.
Right.
And how long do you think it's going to take with slums like Mathare, Kibera? How long do you think it's going to take for all the slums in the world? Because I understand that the government wants to end all the slums in Kenya.
Definitely. And you know,
how long will it take, sir?
do you know, the president was saying we can have a slum-free country in 10 years.
Yes.
And you know, we become a nation again. We become a nation of cynics. But let me tell you, I believe that so deeply that we can have a slum-free country within 10 years. It is so doable. As a matter of fact, in 5. It is so doable. I mean, today or tomorrow, we'll be giving another 4,000, plus houses. And before that, it was another 5,000. So this whole place may take, give or take 20, 30,000. Look for another place that may take 30. Another place that may take 50. If you look at a place like Kibera, let's say the population is between 200 to 300,000, about.
Yes.
That just tells you we can move the entire Kibera population out of Kibera within 2 years. That is how it can be so fast realized there. Before you say cut and a half, we don't have Kibera anymore. But how will we do that? The first thing we need is a belief system. And I know we talk about, in faith we talk about faith is the act of believing without seeing.
Sure.
Can we move out of the adage of seeing is believing to believing is seeing?
Is that possible, really?
Very possible. Very possible. I mean, you believe, and even though it's not guaranteed, you believe that you'll wake up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
You believe that. You go to your diary, you plan your day, you plan your tomorrow, and in fact, the whole week. Why can you not plan then for next year? God willing. Obviously, you say God willing, inshallah.
Yes.
Why can we then not plan for the next 5 years? Why can we not plan for 20 years from now and say we are going to realize a first world country, just like the president is saying? And I know many people are thinking as, Singapore cannot be realized. It actually can. They used the same principle that we are using today. And look at what it is. It's a first world country. So Kenya, we can. And in any case, I was telling people, look at the great nations of the world. They've encompassed 5 components. The first one is infrastructure. This is what you're seeing. Second one is medicine and health. Universal health care. What we are doing. Look, today, Mukuru, this site has a hospital, has a police station, has a fire station in it, has an ECD, a school. I mean, what else can you ask? Has playgrounds. It's a clean place. I've told you about piped gas. Things that never existed in the informal settlement. So you have actually uplifted people, from low dwellings to a place where they can afford, and you can't say they were not paying rent. They were paying rent, and here it is matched the same way. So after medicine and healthcare, you come to food. Among these is the components the Great Walls are using. And finally, the culture. The culture is our trustworthiness, being trustworthy, being people who are committed. That's the culture we need to envelop. And I can tell you, if we are able to encompass the components that these first worlds are using, I can guarantee you without fear of contradiction that we shall get there. In fact, we are headed there. Yeah.
And so when it comes to the building, the affordable, mostly here in Mukuru, there are people who still do not believe. They're asking what's in it for the government? What does the government get? Because there's no way people are given cheap houses, there are clean places, electricity and water, everything is there. And you're paying for a studio room, 3,900, that is unheard of. And it is in Nairobi. What's in it for the government?
By the way, that's a perfect question. And I'll ask that question with another question. Let me ask you, We spend nearly, now we've upscaled our education to nearly 700 billion, right? What does the government get out of it? They send you to school. What do they get back? They educate you. Yeah, I mean, everything, they build classrooms. What do they get in return? You don't pay them back. Matter of fact, they put capitation onto you. They don't get that money back. You don't pay them back, right? So it is the same thing. What does the government get back? Remember I told you about the constitution? It is your right, it's our right. We said this constitution as an instrument that puts us together. We want ABC. We want universal health. We want health. It's enshrined in our constitution. We want housing. We want free education. All of this. But how do we do it then? How do we do it? The issue is not about what government gets, because I've heard so many funny stories. Oh, the government is applying cement. Let me shock you. All the materials that have been provided here have been provided by Kenyans. In a place we went, in Homa Bay, the housing, I met, and in Ruiru, I met a group of young men and women, welders, who are given a contract of nearly 48 million shillings. Young men and women. So it's not that the government is profiting. No. Same way you talk about education. It's for you to get an education, you better yourself, you get employed, you start a business, you pay taxes, we educate somebody else. That is how you keep a nation going. So, I mean, the government is not getting, somebody may think, oh, the government is profiting out of it. No. By the way, if you sit here, the person who will supply timber, you'll be shocked it's the local hardware. You see, what we've done, we've become so great naysayers. We've really pushed disinformation. And this is the price of our instrument, by the way. We are so misinformed that we no longer can understand our reality. Yeah. And I've had people, in fact, some who are elected, saying, the president is the one supplying cement. Really? I mean, that is how misinformation is spreading. Wait for the people who will come, you will see. Yeah. But also, another important facet. Look at all the people working here. Look at the hundreds of young men and women who report to work on a daily basis. They take home something. And not only taking home something, there's something else people are not talking about. They are taking with them a skill learned on the site. I was just talking to some guy there who said, when he came, he could not balance the sand, he could, Today, he's a master of it. And he's saying, if I live here, I'll build my house. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is skill and knowledge transferred to somebody probably who would never have thought, of being in such an industry. Alikuja kama mtu wa mkono, ametoka hapa kama a skilled person, now ready to go and build. And when you've spent 2 years in a place like this,
you'll come
my
up
friend,
with something.
it's like being in a university.
Yeah.
The only thing you're taught, handiwork. Huyu jamaa ile kazi atakuwa akijua akitoka hapa. Ni certificate tu tutakuwa tunampatia ama diploma because of what he knows.
Yeah.
So apart from them earning or making a living, they are leaving these places with a ton of skills that will continue helping them for the rest of their lives. Yeah.
And so the affordable housing, as you said earlier, it's all over the country,
Right.
in different counties.
Yes.
Is the same thing happening in other counties, or is it just Mukuru? Are we going to have hospitals, schools, a mall in other affordable housing, or is it just here in Mukuru?
No, most of them I think they will, but there are others due to land, due to the size of the land that we are getting. They may not have those amenities, but most of them will have.
Yeah.
Like now here, we were just talking here. This is a supermarket. There are stalls on the other side. Yeah. So this is a very huge community. Actually, if you look at it, it's a mini city. When it lights up at night, indeed it's a mini city. So imagine if we can get vast pieces of land, and ensure that people are not running to court to just stop development. Imagine what we can do. Because the government is ready. It's ready to spend money. Put ECDs, put playgrounds, put hospitals in each and every building. Every place that they are doing. That is the mindset that we are coming up with. So if in many places that have gone, like if you look at the Roiro, they will have the same amenities. So this is it's how we are thinking, or it's how the government is thinking of doing the affordable housing. We want it to have all the amenities, all the social amenities in it.
And so there are many people who think that the affordable housing, the only people who can access it are the people who are living in the slums, and as they say, wanaishi mtaani. So many people hata wenye, let's say when mtu ako na nyumba yake huku, maybe in Kileleshwa, and they have houses. So they are thinking that the houses are only for the people who are living in the slums.
That's the biggest misconception I've had. Because I'll tell you what, and this is a genius behind it. This is a true genius behind affordable housing on all these housing that we're getting. There's a social housing aspect of it, there's affordable housing. And there's the one where you can actually put money in it as an investment. For instance, I know so many people in the diaspora. It's 1 ID per house. 1 ID per house.
Yeah.
I know so many people in the diaspora who are buying homes. And they are buying. And they are not here. So who will live in them? You get. There is one who just got a house for his mother. And let me tell you the story that he told me, because we met one-on-one and he was telling me, you guys, you don't know the headache you've solved for me. And we said, what kind of headache have we solved for you? And he tells me, I have been sending money to one of my cousins. Hata sijui kama hiyo ploti alinunua iko kwa jina yangu. But all of a sudden, now my mom has a house. She's living in it. And I'm so happy that I was able to do it, in a record time. And so he was just encouraging everybody else. We may say a lot, we may talk a lot, but the people who are genuinely benefiting are more than the naysayers. And that is what gives us the push to go ahead. I mean, what price can you put to that child you saw accessing the elevator his first time? What price can you give to that kid who now has a place to play football and they are not worried of a bike or a car hitting them because they play on the road? What price tag can you put in to a parent or a mother who know that they can wash their children in a bathroom without some predators huko mitaani looking at them wakioshoa nje? Si unakumbuka watoto tu walikuwa wanaoshoa nje na beshen, uko na predators tu wanaangalia mtoto yake akioshoa nje. Now look at it. What price tag can you put in that? You can't. And that's why when you hear the president talking about decent living, this is what it is. We cannot call ourselves a first world country and we are still living in the Stone Age. No.
And sir,
okay, so you have talked about naysayers and they are misleading people out there, talking about affordable housing being a propaganda and it's not a true thing. So I just want you to elaborate this point to people that affordable housing, it's a real thing and it's happening.
Again, like you said, it's a real thing and it's happening. If you go to every county now, these buildings are coming up. You must have come underneath a rock this morning to say this is propaganda. You have people, testimonials. If we walk on the first phase, around the first phase, if we walk there, and you go to each flat, you will meet people who are living there, people who are living in the slums, people who are paying similar to what they were paying kwa nyumba ya mabati. They are there. Would you call that propaganda? And I know, we are living in times of, like I tell people, we're living in times of great complexities. You'll come on your phone and say all kind of nonsense, and people will listen to you. But guess what? Why I've told you the reason why we have the push of continuing to do this is because the real testimonies out there are making us want to go on. We cannot afford to stop such an undertaking. When you see people who are living in Paula, I mean, people who are, I've lived in it, I can tell you. I've lived in it. Grew up in Mathare, I can tell you. It is, I mean, ushaona mahali pako unaogopa kuambia watu mahali unaishigi. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing good to write about. Nothing good to write about. But today when I see the faces of some of those kids that we were interacting with yesterday, I mean, angalia watu ati wana ride bike na ogopi kunyang'anywa. And they're telling me, unajua mahali tulikuwa naishi unge ride bike, juu ulikuwa unaenda kupiga chuom, unapigwa ngeta. Nani mtoto mdogo, mtoto wa 10 years ananyang'anywa. You get?
Yeah.
But now, I mean, look at them. They are so happy. You know, wanacheza kabol kao. I mean, imagine if we were able to do this in so many other places. And 10 years from now, we be going to a place like Kibra.
Yeah.
And it's now a small, in fact, it's a city. I mean, you know, tutakuwa tunaringaje. Ati sisi, we are the first country nearly in Africa to be ghetto-less. And it's doable, by the way. It's doable. Listen, you know when people come to Kenya, and when the president goes out there, you saw him go out in the US, and people are giving kudos. It comes from somewhere, by the way. People are not just clapping for you because they want to make you feel good. It's what they can see. The Prime Minister of Malaysia, he was here the other day. Look at what he told us. He said, you guys, I wish watu wajionini mnafanya. Because this is impactful. This is impactful. So, it's not mere propaganda. Na tunaambia watu, kama unafikiri kuja tutakufungulia gate. Hata tu utakuwa, endo uongee nao, choose a place you want to go. Go talk to whoever you want to talk to. But they will tell you the true testaments. They'll give you the true testimonies. Yeah.
And so every person, every tenant gets in each and every unit. Wanapata, it is furnished, fully furnished. Is that going to happen in all the other affordable housing?
Story hapana hakuna. Hiyo ni story hapana.
We have had a few testimonials. We have been here since 6 months ago when you gave the first house.
Kuna wengine walifanishiwa kiasi, you know. But wengine wao, let me shock you about this. Most when they get these houses, hata furniture inakuwa secondary. Mtu anaingia tu kuja na bed yake, kasofa kake, ama anaipita mahali ana bike nyingine kampia kufanya tu, you know. Wewe kuja place kama hii unakuja kujipanga. I mean, umetoka mahali kuna buy ma stove huko, sijui una mafuta za taa huko, umetoka hiyo place, unakuja mahali unalipa pipe gas pia imefinyiwa, ulipi bei ya juu, kuna internet, kuna wifi. Madam, watu wanaishi poa sana. Watu wanaishi poa mazee. Wifi unalipa pesa kidogo, maji hakuna story tena, shida ya maji. Sikiza, wacha story ya stima huko mtaani. Ghetto stima ilikuwa inapotea, yani hata hakuna stima. Kwanza kitu ya kwanza umechukua ile stima ya kuiba, keje inaenda ikibanban hapa mazee. Stima ikigo, generator ina hitin. Ndio anaishi kama ndio masosi. Ndio masosi. Juzi nilikuwa nauliza mtu, kwa nini watu ya huko bado mko mpaka generator? Jamaa akaniangalia akaniambia, wewe unafikiri kupanda paka hii floor stima kama hakuna ni no wonder. So this just tells you that these are structures that were built with a lot in mind. With a lot in mind. By the way, unaona hata history hii ni kitu kingine fito watu wale mnanisikiza mkijua. Affordable housing na vile tumestructure hii kitu. Jiulize kama kila mtu angekuwa amejenga kanyumba kake horizontally hapa. Singo tumechukua ile land yote paka Rongai. So this is one of the best ways to utilize vertical space. And look, we've done it. Hii story tunatoka ya Buroti maguta. Inatuharibia. So places hata Kiambu tukienda place kama hiyo. If we do something like this, imagine the land that we will save for agriculture. Now you know this is where we are heading. Due after all this tutahitaji food. So unaona bado pia ina ensure that we leave vast lands for agriculture. Otherwise pia your land tungegawanya maploti tuze watu wajenge manyumba. But now no, we are utilizing vertical space and you can never utilize it any better than we have done. Unaona idea nyingine nimekupatia hiyo huko unajua. Unaona.
So talking about land, sorry, this is the last question. Talking about land, how easy or difficult is it to attain land, to acquire land that the government does not own, or how difficult is it?
It is actually difficult, and I'll tell you without your contradiction. Obviously, there's a way government is allowed by law, constitution, to acquire land. Yeah? But as it acquires, it compensates. We've seen that. But also, kuna ile design, hata ukianza kuongea na government, watu wengi ukimbia kotini. Hata wakati government inachukua land yake, by the way. Uliona kama Mudhuru hiyo story, umeona story kama hiyo. Kumbuka hii unaweza ita ni land ya gava, si ni railways. Si unaona?
Yeah.
But bado gava inafikiria, inasemaje, by the way, atuwafukuzi, atuwatoi, tunawapatia kakitu kwanza muende mget mahali. But tukishafanya hizi Kenya, nani maji yake mazee zilitengenezwa kwa sijui 1922. Mahosi zilikuwa zinatembea huko na walami kitambo. You know? Ndio maana nakwambia as a people we need to have a lot of foresight. Si kila saa gava ikisema wote nifanye hii hapa, the first thing tunafikiria is ni propaganda, tunagongwa. Let me tell you, we must trust government. Kama saa zingine na sisemi hii na ubaya, you go to the police station, sindio? Umeenda kuripoti, let's say simu yako imeibiwa ama mtu amevunja hao yako, uenda karao kwa nini? Unajua uenda karao jua nini? Because you trust government. Uenda kuchukua ID kwa nini? Nani kupatia hiyo ID? Si ni government. It means you trust government. Ukitaka kutravel, passport upatiwa na nani? Si ndio? Upatia kuna private company. So at some point, government gives you all the documents that you require to be who you are. But inafika mahali pengine nakwambia, hata hapa we can work something for your good. To build house, hapa unakunya mkono, hapana. But remember, they've given you hata title ile uko nayo, nimetoka kwa gava. Like unaambia, you see, what I'm saying is, at some point, we must trust our government. Tushirikiane so that all of us can get ahead. All of us can get ahead. And so, to answer your question in the simplest of it, there are places that we really get a hard time, you know, acquiring land, even if that land belongs to us. Mtu anaenda kotini, court order. Tutadu nini? Ndio tunataka kufuata uamuzi wa koti vile mahakama inasema, but sometime inatuvutaga nyuma. Kama uliona story ya airport, watu walienda kotini ikakuwa maki. Today, leo hii, our neighbors wanna build my airport zingine kali sana. Leo hii sisi tulienda kotini, leo hii hatuna airport na hatuna mtu ule alikuwa anataka kujenga hiyo airport. Who has lost? It's us. So ndio maana sometimes we have to go deep into reflection and say, what government wants to do, is it not for the betterment of all of us? And once we get that, tuta change minds.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Karibuni sana. Na unasikia nguvu.